Coming up on RMU Live, there was a bomb threat at the Island Sports Center this weekend. RMU Live Story Flick has the latest in the investigation into who caused the scare. Plus, some kids across the country celebrating Halloween this weekend found a nasty trick in their candy. And a Russian plane crash ends in the death of everyone on board.
Welcome back to RMU Live for Monday, November 2nd, 2015. I'm Eddie Sheet.
And I'm Delaney Hassel. Here's what's happening now.
Police responded to a bomb threat at the Island Sports Center yesterday. With more on the scare, here's RMU Live Story Flick.
Over the weekend, students received a text, email, or phone call from RMU Alert about a potential bomb threat at the Island Sports Center.
I got the text message and email about it through RMU Alerts. It didn't necessarily surprise me. I mean, it happens all the time. I know when I was in high school, it was like every 3 weeks occurrence, so it just, at this point, it doesn't bother me unless something actually happens.
It's really surreal because it happened so close to campus. It was definitely like a reality check that things can happen so close to home, but the police did like a really good job of sweeping campus afterward, made everyone feel really safe, and as a CA, my girls felt really safe, so it was handled well, I think.
Other colleges around here get threatened all the time, so it's just another day, I guess. It's not that I'm not surprised, I'm just not, I don't know, that worried about it.
Every bomb threat that I've ever heard of around me has always been a hoax, so kind of used to just hearing a bomb threat and then thinking it's a hoax. So, well, you don't really think that something like that, as a student here, you don't really think that's gonna happen at Raul Morris. Our only real adversity here are the hills, so you don't really think something like that is gonna be it's gonna happen. So it was kind of nuts.
Police have deemed the incident a hoax and are currently investigating several suspects on the matter. For more information, visit rmucenturymedia.com. Reporting from the Nicholson Center, I'm Tori Flick with Century Media.
Police also did a sweep of campus as a precaution. It came out with negative results. If you are not signed up for the RMU Alert, please go to www.rmu.edu/alert so you can be informed in the case of an emergency situation.
RMU will be hosting the fall town hall meetings today and tomorrow. Today's meetings will be from 3 to 5 p.m. in the International Suite at the Soul Center. Information presented will be the same at both meetings, and President-elect Christopher Howard will attend to greet the RMU community.
The Media Arts Visiting Artist and Scholar program invites you to a screening of director Luca Guardabasio's newest documentary, a film called Capo di Cario e I Giovanni Prima del Futuro. It's Italian if you didn't get that. The event will take place on Tuesday, November 3rd at 4:30 p.m. in the lobby of the Whately Center. The screening starts at 5 and will feature a Q&A with the film's director afterwards. Admission is free and open to the public.
This Wednesday, November 4th, the Pittsburgh Speaker Series presented by Robert Morris welcomes Dr. Sanjay Gupta, a practicing neurosurgeon and multiple Emmy-winning chief medical correspondent for CNN. After joining CNN in 2001, he has covered many critical events, including the September 11th attacks, Hurricane Katrina, and the 2011 earthquake and tsunami in Japan. Gupta's won Emmys for his reporting on charity hospitals in New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina and for his coverage of the earthquake in Haiti in 2010. His presentation will take place in Heinz Hall at 8 p.m.
The 9th annual Veterans Day breakfast will be held on Friday, November 6th from 8 to 9:30 a.m. at the International Suite of the Soul Center. The guest speaker will be Director of Hospitality Management and University Professor Dennis Rudd. And for everything you need to know about RMU news, sports, and RMU arts and entertainment, please check out rmucenturymedia.com. We're also proud to announce that RMU Century Media's RMU Radio has won a Pinnacle Award for the College Media Association for Best College Sportscast, and Paul Wintruba of RMU Century Media won first place for Best Portrait. Congratulations to both of those organizations. Now, coming up after the break, we have news from around the world and across the United States, including a scare for some trick-or-treaters near Philadelphia.
And the latest on the Russian plane that went down in Syria and left hundreds dead. Stay tuned.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it.
I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
With Halloween this past Saturday, scores of children everywhere took to the streets in hopes of getting their hands on some candy. But for a few kids throughout the country, their candy had a dangerous surprise inside. CNN's Rachel Solomon has the story.
We all checked our Twix and our Skittles and our sneakers, but we didn't find any in the sneakers. We only found them in the Twix.
For little Miguel Luna, the day after Halloween this year was spent at the Kennett Square Police Department. Instead of eating his candy, he's trying to help police understand why his Twix reportedly had a needle in it.
It's very disturbing. It's very disturbing.
How can anybody do anything like that? That's just unbelievable.
Police say around midnight they received a report of sewing-like needles in 5 Twix bars, apparently from Miguel and some of his other friends. Miguel says he first saw a post on Facebook about a needle in a Snickers bar, so he and his friends, all ages 7 to 12, checked theirs and made the apparent discovery.
There were 4 kids involved. They're not all related, 2 separate families, but they all went trick-or-treating together in the Stending Hills area.
Police tell Eyewitness News they investigate all complaints as legitimate until proven otherwise, but the report was enough to prompt police to send out alerts early Sunday morning, warning neighbors.
They just said that you should check the candy again.
By Sunday afternoon, another child came forward to report he found a needle in his Snickers bar. Police say they do not think that 12-year-old went trick-or-treating with Miguel and the others.
What did you think when you saw that?
We were all nervous when we called the police because we didn't know what was gonna happen. Then we all came to the house. Everybody checked their candy.
And tonight, that's the message police are stressing to parents. Check your child's candy and maybe check it again.
Parents are still urged to check all of the candy before anybody eats it. In the case that you do find candy that appears to be tampered with, please report it to your local police department.
An 11-year-old boy is dead and his 16-year-old brother is injured after a home shooting in Mount Oliver, according to investigators. Allegheny County Police say the shooting took place just before 9 p.m. on Sunday. Investigators believe that there was a knock at the door, then gunfire broke out inside of the home. The 11-year-old boy, identified as David McIntyre, was pronounced dead at the scene. His brother has been identified as C.J. Conrad and has gone through surgery and is in stable condition. Police have yet to say if they have a motive or suspects in the shooting.
The University of Pittsburgh Police Department has issued crime alerts after 2 sexual assaults were reported early Sunday morning. Both assaults were reported to have occurred during parties. According to the Pitt Police, the first man is described as white, about 5 feet 11 inches tall, and having short, dark brown hair. The second man, who assaulted a different woman, is described as college-aged, of mixed race with light skin and an average height. Anyone with information about either of these sexual assaults is asked to call Pittsburgh Police at 911.
A fire at an apartment building in Crafton Sunday afternoon caused about 120 residents to be evacuated. The fire broke out of the second floor of the Crafton Towers a little after noon. Officials said that the man had called out for help from the window of his apartment after seeing flames inside. 5 people, including 3 police officers, were taken to hospitals as a precaution. The Red Cross is providing assistance to 12 residents after they were displaced due to the fire.
An E. coli breakout is affecting more than 150,000 pounds of beef, but it's also affecting one of your favorite restaurants in more than one way. CNN's Corey Marshall has the full story with a couple who experienced it firsthand.
Chris and Kelly Collins don't eat out a lot, but when they do, they choose Chipotle because of its ethics and high-quality ingredients. It's what makes their ordeal this last week so disappointing.
I know we're never going to eat there again. After this. This was just a horrible experience.
Oh, this was more than just food poisoning. This was, a potentially life-threatening exposure.
Friday, October 23rd, they dine at a Chipotle. By Sunday, Chris starts to feel sick. By Thursday, urgent care sends him to the ER, and Saturday, the hospital confirms he has the E. coli strain linked to illnesses in 24 other Chipotle customers.
I've never seen anybody as sick as how sick he was.
Chris is frustrated learning the first E. coli cases occurred a full 8 days before he ate at Chipotle. He's also not pleased with how certain locations handled such a serious outbreak.
Each store had different signs up for why they were closing because of mechanical issues or stuff. And one of them I saw had a really snarky sign that was like, oh, don't worry, the world will be in balance. We'll be opening up soon again. And it just feels really insensitive to what people are going through.
Health officials expect the number of people sickened by the E. coli outbreak linked to Chipotle restaurants to rise. Meanwhile, the company's stock continues to fall due to this event.
Wisconsin Republican Representative Paul Ryan was elected to serve as the newest Speaker of the House last Thursday, replacing former Speaker John Boehner. Ryan was nominated for the position by GOP Conference Chair Kathy McMorrison Rogers. Ryan said, quote, "The House is broken. We are not solving problems. We are adding to them. We are not settling scores. We are wiping the slate clean," end quote.
A Russian aircraft went down over the weekend in Egypt, killing all 224 people on board. CNN's Mary Maloney has the full report.
As the bodies of Russian tourists killed in a passenger jet crash in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula start arriving back in St. Petersburg, Russia Sunday, families gather at the airport waiting for the remains of their loved ones to be returned.
Who died there?
My wife.
Where are you from?
St. Petersburg.
Was she on vacation there?
Yes, she went with the children and with the grandfather. The grandfather and the children returned earlier, and she stayed later.
Russian forensic experts arrived at the morgue in Cairo, where those remains are being identified. They're hoping to find out what caused Flight 9268 to suddenly drop off radar, only 23 minutes in the air, and crash in a remote region plagued by a violent Islamic insurgency. According to Russia's aviation committee, the airliner broke into pieces midair, and the fragments scattered around a large area. Russian media outlets also say the pilot reported technical problems and requested a landing at the nearest airport before the plane went missing, but Egyptian authorities disputed that claim. All 224 people aboard the Airbus, en route from the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh to St. Petersburg, died in the crash early Saturday. Many of the passengers were reportedly returning from vacation. I'm Mary Maloney, reporting.
The plane's black box is still being examined. As of now, officials continue to say that, quote, external influences, end quote, are the cause.
Last Thursday, the Chinese government announced that it would relax the one-child rule to allow couples to have 2 children. The decision was made due to China's rapidly aging population and to help support the economy. The officials stressed that the one-child policy will be in effect until the law changes in March of next year. Ben, what's the latest on Pittsburgh sports news?
This week in sports, Halloween weekend brought the Steelers a bit of horror and a sweet taste for the Royals. More on that after the break.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
To Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right? How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money gonna come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back to RMU Live. I'm Ben Kelkis with the latest in sports. It was a wild Halloween weekend in sports, seeing some of the highest highs and lowest lows that professional sports have to offer, peaking with the end of the 2015 MLB season. The Kansas City Royals were crowned the World Series champions after a string of come-from-behind wins throughout the postseason. And last night's game was no exception. After being down 2-0 to the New York Mets in the 6th, the Royals came back with a win in the 12th, with a 5-run inning, sealing the deal on their first World Series championship in 30 years and getting their revenge after the bitter taste from defeat, losing last year's championship. Over to the National Football League, the Steelers faced the undefeated Cincinnati Bengals at home, not only losing on the scoreboard in the final minutes, but losing one of their team leaders for the remainder of the injury-plagued season for the Black and Gold. Le'Veon Bell was tackled awkwardly on his right knee near the sideline and needed to be carted off the field, later to be diagnosed with a severely torn MCL. D'Angelo Williams will take his place for the rest of the season as the Steelers hope to dethrone the division-leading Bengals come postseason. In hockey news, the Penguins celebrated Halloween in Toronto with a 4-0 win over the Maple Leafs. Eric Fair got his season and Penguins' career off to a good start with the first goal of the game in the first period and an assist to Matt Cullen in the second. Marc-Andre Fleury stood solid in net after taking a penalty regardless, but mounted 21 saves in his second shutout of the season. Phil Kessel was held pointless in his first game and playing in his former barn, the Air Canada Centre. That's all the time we have for sports. Now here's Leah with the weather.
All right, thanks so much, Ben. Now, if you haven't been outside today, you should definitely go outside because it's beautiful. It is 69, so we are seeing almost 70-degree temperatures in November, but just wait for later in the week. Tonight's low is going to be 43, so a little chilly at night, but not as cold as we've seen. We've seen temperatures in the 40s during the day at some point. Tomorrow, going to be even nicer. It's going to be 74 in the middle, well, actually in the beginning of November. Tomorrow's low is going to be 48, so almost at 50 for the night. Not too bad. Now for the rest of the week, we're going to see 70s a lot. Wednesday's actually going to be 76. I'm not sure if that's a record, but it's probably pretty close. Sometimes it does stay kind of warm in November, but usually it's very cold. Like I said, Wednesday high of 76, low of 55. On Thursday, we're going to stick in the 70s with 73 and a low of 59, so almost 60 at night, which is also really rare. Friday, hanging on the 70s, going to be a little rainy, cooler at night, 49. On Saturday and Sunday, we are back to the 50s with temperatures at 54 and 55, and then 30s in the evening. Like I said, only chance of rain is going to be Friday, so it is going to be a beautiful week. Enjoy it, and back to Eddie and Delaney.
Are you live this afternoon?
We'll see you next time.